Alright, let's talk about these fights that happened this weekend. We had a UFC card that seemed pretty bland on paper. Actually had a few explosive finishes that were pretty exciting. And we had probably one of the best Bellator cards in a while, slash ever. I only tuned in for the last two, the main two fights of the night. Um, so I can't really speak on the rest, but those two were really good. We'll start with the UFC card, however. We'll do Sean Strickland and Uriah Hall. This fight happened just like I thought it would in my pre-fight breakdown. Sean was outworking Uriah with the strike count. A lot of jabs, stinging him, throwing them from like a regular jab, also throwing kind of these like whipping back jabs after he's jabbed and retreating his punch. He kind of like re-flick his hand back out there and hit Uriah. Looping right hands around the guard that were landing, as well as left hooks. He'd either use those on combinations where he's really unloading and he sees like Hall's hurt and really like unloading on him, or he'd throw that left hook after his jab. Uriah had his moments, but he was just getting outworked overall by Sean. His jabs were effective, and you'd see Sean's head whip back, and it would make Sean have to like wait another 20 seconds or something before he really starts getting active again. But Uriah's just not active enough, and Sean just was running a pace in a volume that he was not ready for. There wasn't really a lot of wrestling happening, except for after times where Strickland had hurt or wobbled Uriah. He would go for these takedowns on him, which were some of the things I think were a bit ill-advised, kind of bad fight IQ. It'd be better. He could have finished Uriah. There's a couple moments in the third round and in the fourth round that were pretty big, and he could have gotten a finish in both, but the committing to the grappling kind of did it to him. I can understand the like wanting to not get knocked out by a guy who throws big counter strikes, but these were moments where I really feel like Hall was close to getting out of there. But other than that, it was a pretty good performance from Sean. I think he will struggle with some of the higher contenders in this division. He has a really good jab and really good boxing, but I don't think most competitors are going to want to keep it in that boxing range like Uriah Hall did with him. I think they will be more willing to try to either kick and use those leg kicks or do some takedowns, something. Even though Sean does have good takedown defense, he's had an accident and his knees are not the same. You can kind of tell it's just his stance is very straight. And when he throws his kicks, you can kind of just see he obviously isn't as mobile in his lower half. But that was a good scrap. We'll go to the co-main, I believe this was. Cheyenne Bays versus Gloria de Paula. Paolo? I think it's de Paula. This was a good fight. Right out the gate, they were getting to it. Bays was looking to throw the overhand right over de Paula's jab. She got a body lock takedown, was working in the guard for a little bit. And then as de Paula has like a knee frame, she pushes away. She gets the stand up right as her hand like leaves the ground. And she has, she's no longer grounded. Bays had timed this head kick and just wham, clocked her right in the jaw. Hit her with some hammer fists, and that was that. That was a good win for her. She had a tough, first fight in the UFC against Montserrat Conejo. She was just getting head and armed, thrown, and then getting stuck in that scarf hold position the whole fight. But this was much better for her, coming out here getting a finish like that, showing what she can actually do. Got the fight of the night bonus, so that's always nice. Moving down, I don't know if this was the next fight or another one after, but Jared Gooden versus, I don't remember the guy's first name, Stultz. It's from Germany. Right out the gate, Stultz was coming out with the spinning back kick and then like a switch body kick. You can see he obviously has this like Taekwondo-esque background. He's light on his feet, bouncing around. Gooden, much bigger, very physically imposing looking in there. He catches him early on with like a 3-2-3 combination, getting like that left hook and the right straight, and then he gets a double leg, lifts him off the ground, puts him down. Stultz gets back to the feet well. They keep trading strikes, and then Gooden lands a massive right hand as he's sliding along the inside angle. They were both orthodox fighters, I believe. So he slid along the inside and just boom! He threw it really weird too. His fist was like pointed up. He like pulled his fist down into it, but knocked him out. He landed another punch or two after that, but I think it was pretty much a knockout. Yeah, that was a good win for the guy. I heard he was on a 2-fight skid, I believe. So good on him for getting a dub like that. And then the other fight I thought that was notable in the card was Melic Bogdasarian versus Colin Anglin. Melic was coming out the gate. He's very quick and strong. His tools of the trade were the jab, the right straight, which he used to the head and to the body well, both of them, and the head kicks and body kicks, and the occasional low kick. But really, the head kicks, he would throw them sometimes naked, sometimes after his punches. Colin Anglin was doing well early on too. He was taking more shots, partially because he kept his hands down, instead of a little higher to block some of these shots. I think he was maybe trying to rely on his reactions, but Melic was quicker and was just getting to him before he could react. And as well as Melic was just throwing the bigger shots, it was showing on Colin more. But Colin was landing good short right hands, step-in knees. It was a good scrap. They're going for the first round. Around halfway through the second round, this head kick that Melic had been using throughout the fight finally lands. It catches Colin right behind the ear, has him stumbling to the floor like an obvious equilibrium shot. He gets hit maybe once or twice more, and it's over. That was a good win for the guy. He was showing really just kind of like mastery of fundamentals there. He wasn't doing a lot. He did pull out a spinning back elbow. That was nice. But he was really just employing fundamental techniques, but doing them well. He obviously has explosivity, and he was just feinting, going to the head, to the body, getting his hands to lower. It's good stuff. And let's talk about these Bellator fights, the ones that I watched at least. We'll talk about the main event first, because that's probably the one that anyone is hearing about. Patricio Pitbull versus AJ McKee. Patricio Pitbull is the double champ of Bellator. He has the 145, 155 belt, and he's small at 145, so it's kind of, it speaks to the lack of depth in Bellator, but also it speaks to how good Patricio Pitbull is. He definitely could contend in the UFC 145. I think he would be probably a beast at 135 with people smaller. But he makes it work. He's patient. He looks for his counter shots. He's a smaller guy, so it's not like he wins the point fighting endeavor throwing like long jabs and stuff. AJ McKee, I believe his roots are in wrestling and grappling. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. He does some very interesting things. Another Jack Slacks shout out, but he did some, I don't know if it was in one of the podcasts or if it was a separate thing, but he showed some interesting stuff that he was doing with the grapevine guard and sweeping from that. You should go check it out. But that really got me interested in this McKee guy. So I wanted to catch this fight. He came out right away in this fight, took the center of the octagon. He wasn't even really moving around or jostling his feet, just kind of planting, waiting for Pitbull, kind of beckoning him to come in. I don't really know if they were trading much there, maybe a jab or a straight or two. But pretty early on, McKee just threw a naked head kick, and it just landed flush on Pitbull. Had him stumbling. He throws a couple looping shots as he's coming in, but then lands an uppercut through Pitbull's guard that drops him. He thought he had the finish. He's like celebrating a bit. He hasn't walked away or anything, but he's not attacking or anything. Pitbull is starting to get his senses back, as like going to wrestle. The ref hasn't stepped in, so McKee just snags him up in a tight guillotine, and I didn't even see his hands both gripped together, so it might have even just been a one-arm guillotine standing, which would make sense. Pitbull's pretty out of it still, and he gets to finish that way. Really dominant, really quick. The dude's undefeated still. Obviously, he's got some skills. Hopefully, he gets his bag over there at Bellator for a bit, then gets some legacy fights over in the UFC. And then the co-main fight, we had Mads Burnell versus what's his name? Emmanuel Sanchez. That was the fight. I believe Emmanuel Sanchez was just coming off a title shot attempt loss to Pitbull. This is in the 145-pound division. Mads came from the UFC and was cut. I think he was 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 win, 2 losses. I don't know. It wasn't anything crazy or anything like that. But he's pretty interesting. He has very like Mike Tyson-esque boxing, has the high guard looking to slip jabs and straights and go to the body with hooks, go to the head with hooks. He doubles up with the same side hooks. Pretty fun stuff to watch. Not a lot of people do that. And he's really good at grappling on the ground. I thought it was pretty funny, this fight. The booth was killing me. They were really like playing this narrative that Sanchez this was like a three rounds for Sanchez. I did score the first round for Sanchez. He was more active, landing more. Granted, a lot of these strikes too are landing on Mads' guard. He has a high guard. He's shoulder rolling and catching a lot of these. But he still lost an activity, I think, on that first round. But the second round, he like halfway through, he gets him to the ground and is controlling him in dominant position, going for submission attempts. And same thing in the last round. The last round was much more control time. I can't remember. I believe it was about the whole round. It was a pretty clear win, in my opinion, for Mads. It's definitely it wasn't a domination win. It was a close fight, but a clear win. But they were playing like it was a robbery for Sanchez when the decision came out. It's kind of wild. I thought that was funny. But other than that, that was a really good fight. I enjoyed watching that as well. That helped cap off the night after kind of a long, drawn-out Strickland Hall fight. But yeah, that was that. I'm gonna get this Cyril Gahn, Derek Lewis breakdown out, because I believe that is the pay-per-view event going on this weekend. Looks to have a few more interesting names on paper, so we'll see if it comes through. Not super excited about this like fake heavyweight interim belt that they're doing for no reason, when this could have just been a #1 contender fight. But Dana White be doing what Dana White be doing. Alright, fellas, if you enjoyed, drop a subscribe and a like. I'll be back with more stuff. Thanks. See ya.